Hi, I'm Amy Stasiewicz, and welcome to The Minutes. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to have you along on The Minutes for the week of May 18th. This is the City of Thunder Bay podcast. The Minutes looks at what happened at Thunder Bay City Council this past week. You can find The Minutes wherever you get your podcasts, including our YouTube channel and our website, thunderbay.ca/theminutes. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. This week, City Council met on Tuesday, May 19th. We'll go over the key highlights from this meeting, and later I'll be joined by Joel DePeuter, Director of Development Services. So let's get started. Like all council and standing committee meetings, the meeting began with a land acknowledgement. City Council meetings open with the national anthem, performed by a guest or local group. If you're interested in being one of the performers, you can find out more at thunderbay.ca. Before council started, Thunder Bay Hydro, or Synergy North, had their annual general meeting. First up at City Council was a public meeting. City administration is asking council to approve an official planned amendment. This would allow the manager of planning services to make more routine planning decisions without needing full council approval every time. This includes things like minor zoning updates, temporary use bylaws, land severances, boundary adjustments, and straightforward subdivision approvals. Basically, applications that already meet all the rules. The goal is to make decisions faster and more efficient. Right now, even small technical applications can take time because they depend on council meeting schedules. This change would streamline that process and improve service for residents and developers. It also frees up council to focus on larger, more complex issues, like major developments or projects. There would still be check-ins in place. Applicants can appeal decisions or send them to council if needed, and staff can do the same if something requires more public discussion. Council then approved the request. Up next was a closed session, and nothing was removed for open discussion. Then onto the consent agenda items, which included minutes of previous City Council meetings, minutes of previous Special Committee of the Whole meetings, and the DSAB Board meeting minutes. All consent agenda items were approved by Council. Okay, now on to the reports of administration. The first report from City Administration is a recommendation to approve a use of public spaces bylaw. This bylaw tries to balance two important things: protecting public spaces for the whole community and supporting people who may have nowhere else to go. Instead of banning encampments outright, the bylaw follows legal and human rights standards. That means people cannot be forced out of public spaces unless there are safe and appropriate indoor options available. The bylaw also sets clear rules for everyone using public spaces. These include things like preventing damage to property, reducing fire risks, managing waste properly, and keeping walkways and entrances clear. The city will prioritize outreach, communication, and connecting people with services before taking any enforcement action. If relocation is needed, the goal is to make that process voluntary, respectful, and supported. This bylaw also builds on the city's broader encampment response plan and works alongside existing supports like outreach teams and shelter programs. Public feedback played a big role in shaping this. Across the board, people agreed on the need for safety, clear rules, and a compassionate approach. However, there were some differences in opinions on enforcement and support levels. This bylaw aims to create a consistent and humane approach, one that keeps public spaces safe and welcoming, while also responding to homelessness with dignity and support. The next report from City Administration is a recommendation for 3 locations to be approved as designated encampment sites, which would be located at Current River Park, Freedom Park, and the Simpson Street area. Designated encampment sites are temporary managed spaces where people can stay outdoors when there aren't enough shelter options available. They're not a long-term solution, but they are meant to improve safety, have access to services, and overall coordination. These sites were carefully selected through a detailed process. The city reviewed over 1,200 properties, narrowed that down to 75, and then studied 6 potential locations in depth. These 3 sites were chosen because they offer the best balance of accessibility and safety, and they already have a history of encampment use. Each site will include design and safety measures, like fencing, defined layouts, and regular monitoring, to help reduce risks and keep both residents and the surrounding community safe. Other possible sites were not recommended due to concerns like safety risks, limited access, or high cost to fix those issues. Public input has also played a big role. Feedback showed strong support for sites with good access to services and transit, but some concerns were raised, especially around safety, impacts on nearby areas, and proximity to rail lines or busy spaces. To support these sites, the city is also proposing over a $208,000 budget to install fencing and improve site management. This is part of the city's enhanced encampment response plan, which is a broader effort to respond to homelessness in a more coordinated, practical, and humane way. These designated sites aim to improve conditions now, while longer-term housing solutions continue to be developed. After some discussion, a councillor asked for an amendment for Freedom Park and Simpson Street to be at 80% capacity, and once that capacity is reached, then Current River Park will then be developed. The amendment and the entire resolution was then passed by council. The next report is about an exciting long-term vision for Thunder Bay's waterfront, specifically the Pool 6 and Tugboat Basin area. City administration is recommending that council adopt an updated Waterfront Master Plan, basically a roadmap that guides how this important space could grow and evolve in the years ahead. This update builds on the original 2015 plan, but reflects new opportunities with community feedback and economic trends. The goal is to create a flexible vision that can adapt over time as new ideas and investments come forward. The idea is to support tourism, local business, and community life, all in one place. Public input played a big role in shaping this vision. People consistently said they want a waterfront that's accessible, natural, and community-focused, with features like walking trails, gathering spaces, and potentially things like markets, cafes, and small-scale attractions. There was also strong interest in keeping the space lively year-round, not just during the summer months. At the same time, the plan is designed to be flexible. It's not a fixed blueprint, but a guiding framework. Future development will be shaped through further studies and a call for proposals, where private and public partners can bring forward ideas that fit the vision. There was lots of discussion, and in the end, council approved the plan. The final report of administration is a report on protecting some of Thunder Bay's most important historic buildings. City administration and the Heritage Advisory Committee are recommending that 5 local properties be officially designated under the Ontario Heritage Act. These properties include the Doctor's Cottage on Ray Court, the Bank of Montreal on Cumberland Street, the Thunder Bay District Courthouse on Camelot Street, the McIntyre House on Isabella Street, and the Ukrainian Orthodox Church on Pacific Avenue. Being designated under the Ontario Heritage Act allows municipalities to protect buildings that have cultural, historical, or architectural significance. Once designated, these properties can't be demolished or significantly altered without careful review. All 5 of these buildings have been evaluated by heritage experts and meet provincial criteria. They all represent key parts of Thunder Bay's history. Designating these properties doesn't just protect buildings, it helps preserve local identity, supports tourism, and keeps neighborhoods unique and meaningful. Council then approved the resolution, and the bylaw will come back to council near the end of June. Next, council approved a series of bylaws, and the meeting was then adjourned. Okay, that's it for City Council updates. Next, I'll be chatting with Joel DePeuter, Director of Development Services, to find out more information about the new and improved Waterfront Master Plan. Today, I'm joined by Joel DePeuter, Director of Development Services. His team has been focusing on an exciting growth opportunity at Thunder Bay's waterfront, specifically in the Pool 6 area. He'll walk us through what this updated Waterfront Master Plan means for the community, how public feedback has helped shape the vision, and what we can expect for the future. Hey, Joel, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so to start off, because I think some people might hear Pool 6 and have no idea what that is, where is it located at the waterfront?
Yeah, so Pool 6, it's just south of Prince Arthur's Landing, and that's where the cruise ship terminal is, and the Alexander Henry icebreaker. And yeah, there are parts of it that are finished and parts of it that are not.
Right. So if you're driving down the road kind of past the new art gallery, just keep going.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. So what inspired the city to revisit and update the original 2015 plan, and what are some changes that have happened since then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think what has inspired the change is that there's been a lot of change in the market, right? And we've realized some new possibilities over the past 10 years. So at the time of the 2015 master plan, there wasn't a cruise ship industry in Thunder Bay. The art gallery was just an idea at that point, and the Science North project had not yet been proposed. And really, there had been. I think there's a significantly higher focus on growth right now, and it's recognized that the Pool 6 site is it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to expand Thunder Bay's waterfront and really, I think further build on what's there to make it the place that people want to visit when they come to Thunder Bay.
Yeah, over time we've slowly built it up, but there's still more opportunities.
That's right, and really, so the cruise ship terminal being at the end, we've seen a little bit of leapfrog development, and really recognize now may be the time that there's sufficient market interest to be able to finish off the development and turn it into something transformational.
Yeah, very exciting. Okay, so can you give us a brief overview and maybe some of the main objectives of this new Waterfront Master Plan?
Yeah, some of the objectives are that it be a year-round destination, right? So not just a place that we would want to visit in the summertime. It's important that it generates some economic activity, and really that helps us pay for the development and the park improvements and so forth. And I think a very popular message that came out of public consultation is to really preserve and celebrate the natural setting and the industrial past for the site. So an important component of the vision is a network of trails, the continuation of the waterfront trail, to be able to really maximize the benefit of and take in all of the views and the natural wonders that the site is exposed to.
Yeah. What are some of the ideas that might be there?
Well, so I'll just describe the vision briefly.
Yeah.
So the vision for the Pool 6 area, it's centered around a Main Street development. So there are 5 building sites, and each of those are envisioned to have main floor commercial where local shops and restaurants would be present, and if you can picture strolling through a very vibrant area with patios and all focused on the vista of the sleeping giant. At the end of that main street, a market is envisioned, which would be welcoming cruise ship customers as they come off the vessel. Mm-hmm. I had mentioned that there's a network of trails that surround this commercial area, and very importantly, there are special natural features that are preserved. So there's a habitat pond. There are the shoreline is protected, and I think a large focus is making the shoreline, very accessible to the public.
Yeah, and then there might be this is all just ideas, but a hotel or residential mixed in there.
That's right. So, the plan is meant to be flexible. So in the not too distant future, we'll be issuing call for proposals to seek out development partners. For the purpose of the vision, what's shown is, and these are just examples.
Yeah.
A water park hotel, a Nordic spa, which is something that I've heard a lot about, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
excitement in Thunder Bay. Mixed-use residential component, and other iterations have considered the possibility for a convention center hotel, which is something that's not currently in the Thunder Bay market. So the key thing is that there must be a range of destination attractions that would make that would encourage people to visit this space and make it its own unique node.
Yeah.
So as we go forward, these are definitely things the city will be looking for as we seek out development partners.
Yeah. And I think the key thing is balance. Like you want nature, but some industrial and just good balance.
I think something that's been very important to the public is to be able to access the majority of the site. So 60% of the site is reserved for public open space and trails and view areas and so forth. And also importantly, so the main floors of these buildings being commercial would welcome the public inside.
So there was a lot of public feedback collected. What were some of the things that people were saying they really wanted to see?
Well, I had mentioned that I'd say the most common feedback was an interest in natural environment and be able to walk and view and to take in the scenery. There's a strong interest in supporting like local shops and businesses and some of the unique like products and restaurants and so forth that Thunder Bay has to offer. Some of the things where there was some trepidation, I'll say, is giving over large components of this space for residential or hospitality uses. I think because that would might mean to the public that they wouldn't have access to those spaces, which is why I emphasize that the main street corridor with the ground floor commercial area would be accessible to the public. But I think those, and I had many conversations at the public events. And from those, I think is generally understood and appreciated by the public that let's say like a commercial or a revenue generating development is important and necessary to not just pay for the the public improvements to the space, but also to generate a level of activity and excitement and to animate the area.
Yeah.
Important that there be a lot of people around, and otherwise it wouldn't be as exciting of a place to visit.
Yeah, and you said obviously you're wanting it to be year round. You don't want it to just be busy in the summer when the cruise ships are there.
That's right. So if you were, or the public were, to look at the city's Get Involved page, you'll see a copy of the master plan there, and there are some great images within that shows all seasons. The development is it's conceptual. It is designed around a 4 seasons experience.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the challenges that you're finding with this waterfront master plan?
Well, the site is complicated given the 100 years of industrial history. Not surprisingly, there is some contamination present, and there's also there was a grain elevator there. There's demolition debris, and soils have been moved there from other locations. So some of the next steps are to undertake further environmental investigation and figure out a plan to sort of like segment the property and begin to address risks that are present or remediate the site. So also the rail yard is nearby, which is has its impacts, and so we're next steps include noise and vibration testing to figure out what appropriate setbacks would be from the rail yard or mitigations to ensure that's a comfortable place to stay and live potentially.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been done before. Like there's residential right down the street.
That's right. Yeah, it was done before in first phase of the waterfront, so we have a lot of experience to build on, and also to have rails nearby and industrial lands nearby the waterfront. I mean, that's common for our other municipalities, and we can certainly learn from the successes that others have experienced.
Yeah, for sure. So what about parking? I know this is always a topic, especially at the waterfront.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it seems parking comes up with any development.
Right.
So really the amount of parking to be provided is set by the zoning bylaw. So there's no change considered at this point. So I think the amount of parking that would be required would be variable depending on the uses that are there. So for example, like a large convention center that could hold 1,000 or more people, that's assembly use like that drives a lot of like high parking requirement. So the vision, the concept is that the majority of this parking would be provided underground, so that we can enjoy the above ground area. So there would be some limited parking that would be available on surface level along the main street, and then also in a few surface level parking areas that would really be designed to be available for those like shorter term customers rather than the long term stays that are, or the overnight stays that would be part of the hotel or residential components.
Right. Okay. All right. So also the city is spearheading this plan, but people might be wondering, what are the costs associated for, say, taxpayers?
Yes. So, well,
not to put you on the spot.
No problem. I mean, so the bringing infrastructure into the site is not, I mean, it's expensive in terms of millions, right? But I think it's not prohibitively expensive. There's some more work to be done in terms of environmental remediation and figuring what is necessary as we build out the financing strategy for this development. But I think most importantly is that the city's not going to be paying for the entire development. It would actually be a very small share relative to the total investment. So I think the city's role is to provide the vision, to provide a framework for development, and make that available to the private sector partners to work together to see this development through. And I think that's why it's important to know this vision is meant to be flexible, and it may change depending on market interest. Of course, with some fundamental principles being not flexible or less flexible. So we're actually this is working towards a fairly aggressive timeline and are planning to issue this call for proposals in 2027. So with 2026 being the focus of that, those technical studies, so that we can provide a full package of information.
Okay, yeah. So that kind of leads me into my next question. So what happens next? Like the plan's out there, and you've been to council. So yeah, how does this become a reality?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, council's provided support for the plan. It's adopted, which is really exciting. And, I think that council's adopted it. That's really important to developers so that they know that they can rely on the commitment to develop out this site. The next steps are for the city to undertake these studies. We will next be costing out the public sector infrastructure that is required and working on that. So let's call it some of those finer details, and then issuing the call for proposals to the private sector in 2027.
Right.
So once we have those results, then we'll be able to enter into negotiations and determine whether this development is something that would occur incrementally the way it has been, or perhaps all at once, if there's a strong response to that call for proposals.
Right. Yeah, it really depends on what people decide next year.
That's right. Well, and the important thing is that we have a roadmap to make it work and provides for the flexibility to adapt to the proposals that we receive. So I know this is something that the public's going to be very interested in, and I expect would be the subject of future reports to council. Council will receive updates as we go along, and I know there's going to be a lot of interest in what this is going to look like at the end of the day.
Yeah, okay. Very exciting. Okay, so thanks so much for breaking down the Waterfront Master Plan and for taking time to chat with me today.
You bet. Thank you, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Okay, that's it for this week's episode of The Minutes. A big thank you to Joel DePeuter for joining us, and as always, thanks for listening. If you want more information about City Council, agendas, or minutes, visit thunderbay.ca/council. You can catch The Minutes every week wherever you get your podcasts, on our YouTube channel or on our website at thunderbay.ca/theminutes. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. I'm Amy. Thanks again for listening to the minutes and have a great week.